Hey everyone, welcome back to the Chopper Fet channel. My name is Brett, and we make the motorcycle related videos and motorcycle vlogs here on the channel. The other day, Indian just announced the Indian Chief, and along with it came 6 brand new motorcycles to compete against Harley Davidson. How does Harley Davidson's current lineup stack up? Let's roll that intro and we'll get into it. The first motorcycle we'll go over today is the Indian Chief Dark Horse. The Chief Dark Horse starts at $16,999 and boasts the Thunderstroke 116 cubic inch air-cooled motor, putting out an estimated 120 foot-pounds of torque at 2,900 RPM, mated to a 6-speed manual transmission. It comes in with a wet weight of 670 pounds, making this the perfect in-between bike for someone who might think the Scout is too small and the Bagger touring models are just too big. The Chief lineup shares many similar parts such as fenders and tanks, so I apologize if every time we talk about the Indian today, the numbers are eerily similar. The Chief Dark Horse comes with a 4.0 gallon tank, and while official MPG numbers are not available, similar users report somewhere in the neighborhood of 42 to 46 miles per gallon. On the Chief Dark Horse, you will sit at a nice cruiser height of 26 inches, while the frame and body stand 4.9 inches off the ground, allowing the bike a lean angle of about 28.5 degrees. The last bit of notes for the Chief Dark Horse is that ABS comes standard, and they also come with a 4-inch infotainment gauge. According to Indian, the 4-inch touchscreen maintains a classic aesthetic by disguising itself as an analog gauge. You can use it as a speedo, a tack, but it also provides turn-by-turn navigation with live weather and traffic, controls your ride modes, and lets you answer and decline calls, and manage your music for any Bluetooth connected device. The main competitor to the Indian Chief Dark Horse will be the Harley Davidson Street Bob. Now you might be wondering, wouldn't it make more sense to compare this bike to the Dark Horse Bobber? But trust me on this. The Dark Horse line all have Bob fenders, and when comparing the wheel and tire packages, this bike looks the most similar. The Street Bob comes in at a starting price of $14,999, putting it $2,000 below the Indian. Does the Indian have more to offer to justify this price difference? Well, let's start digging in. The 114 is also air-cooled, puts out 119 foot-pounds of torque at 3,000 RPM, and is mated to also a 6-speed manual transmission. It has a wet weight of 659 pounds, making it ever so slightly lighter than the Chief. The Street Bob does utilize one of the smallest gas tanks on the market with a 3.5 gallon tank at an estimated 47 miles per gallon, meaning you'll be filling up well before you hit that 200 mile mark. The seat height on the Street Bob sits you at 25.8 inches with about 4.9 inches of ground clearance, allowing the bike to lean at about 28.5 degrees. Wow, this information is starting to sound very similar to its Indian counterpart. So what justifies the $2,000 price hike in the comparison? Well, ABS does not come standard on the Street Bob, but can be added for an additional cost of $795. The $1,200 you are saving is essentially negating any sort of infotainment. If that is not something of importance to you, then the Street Bob might be the right bike for you. Next up for the Indian Chief is the Dark Horse Bobber. If I start to repeat information, again, I do apologize, as the Chief lineup is very similar amongst its brethren. The Dark Horse Bobber starts at $18,999 and also boasts the Thunderstroke 116 cubic inch air-cooled motor, putting out an estimated 120 foot-pounds of torque at 2,900 RPM, mated to a 6-speed manual transmission. It comes in with a wet weight of 694 pounds, making it 24 pounds heavier than our previous Chief. The Dark Horse Bobber shares the same 4.0 gallon tank as the Dark Horse Chief. On the Dark Horse Bobber, you will sit once again at a nice cruiser height of 26 inches, 4.9 inches off the ground, with a lean angle of 28.5 degrees. The Dark Horse Bobber also comes with ABS standard, as well as the aforementioned 4-inch infotainment gauge cluster. Now on to the Harley Davidson equivalent. This time around we are going to compare it to the Harley Davidson Fat Bob, which I know is a hit or miss in the cruiser market, but I'll let you decide on that. The Fat Bob comes in starting at $18,799, putting it only $20 below the Indian. The Fat Bob will have to really have some key features in order to make it a better value for the money. The Fat Bob 114 is once again air-cooled, 119 foot-pounds of torque, 3,000 RPM, 6-speed manual transmission. It has a wet weight of 676 pounds, making it slightly lighter than the Dark Horse Bobber. The Fat Bob uses a different tank than the Street Bob, but the dimensions only allow for a slightly bigger 3.6 gallon tank with an estimated MPG of 47 miles per gallon. The seat height for the Fat Bob sits you at 27.2 inches with about 4.7 inches of ground clearance, but due to its unique layout, it allows you to lean over 31 to 32 degrees, which so far is our best motorcycle for getting low into the corners. ABS brakes come standard this time around, but still lacks the infotainment side of things. For about the same price, you're getting a very similar bike to the Dark Horse Bobber, but it might be missing a few of the extra bells and whistles that the Dark Horse Bobber has to offer. The last bike we will compare are what I like to call the mini tours or the mini baggers. We will start with the Indian Super Chief Limited. The Super Chief Limited starts at $20,999, and you guessed it, also boasts the same Thunderstroke 116 cubic inch air-cooled motor, 120 foot-pounds of torque at 2,900 RPM, mated to the same 6-speed manual transmission. It comes in at a wet weight of 739 pounds, making it the heaviest of the Chiefs mentioned today. This comes as no surprise, however, as the Super Chief Limited boasts saddlebags providing 9.7 gallons of storage. The SCL also shares the same 4.0 gallon tank as the previous two entrants. On the Super Chief Limited, you sit 0.2 inches higher than the other Dark Horses, but still maintain the same 4.9 inches of ground clearance, and you still can lean the bike over at 28.5 degrees. The SCL also comes with ABS standard, and again, the aforementioned 4-inch infotainment gauge cluster. Our Harley Davidson competitor for the SCL would be the Heritage 114, which provides that classical and iconic styling we've grown accustomed to with Harley Davidson. The Heritage 114 comes in at $20,449, putting this bike $500 below the Super Chief Limited. Once again, the 114 puts out 119 foot-pounds of torque at 3,000 RPMs, mated to that 6-speed manual transmission. It has a wet weight of 728 pounds, coming in 11 pounds lighter than the Indian. The boost in weight is due to the leather storage bags providing you 11.2 gallons of storage, which is about 1.5 gallons more than the SCL has to offer. So far, this Harley is holding its own. The Heritage comes equipped with a 5-gallon tank while maintaining a 47 mile per gallon estimate. This is the first bike featured today getting north of 200 miles per fill-up. Seat height comes in at 26.3 inches with a 4.7 inches of ground clearance, allowing the bike to lean at about 27 to 28.3 degrees, which means you will scrape on the Heritage before you scrape on the SCL. ABS once again becomes standard on the Heritage. However, the decision comes once again is $500 worth the technology of the Indian. Stick around for my final thought on it. I feel that these bikes compare very well. However, we really start to see where Harley Davidson comes up short in its technology. The 4-inch infotainment system equipped with these Indians is state of the art. The other thing Indian does offer is ride modes, which has become standard on most Euro and Asian motorcycles. The ride modes give you a unique experience whether you want to attack the corners in sport mode or sit back and relax and pound the miles on the touring mode. I think Harley Davidson is right there next to Indian on these things, and I imagine we'll be there within a year or two. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like for me to compare the base Chiefs to other Harley Davidson Softails, post a comment below, and as always, I will catch you on the next dark side, as this is the way. Sharper Fed out.